Okay, this is my Gentleman Janitor GJ-5 coal stoker boiler. Picked this up a couple weeks ago up in Milton, PA. It's in pretty good shape. Actually, it's in really good shape for being an old coal boiler. The guy actually took it apart, cleaned it, painted it, and then he sat it in his shed for a few years and ended up not using it and put it up for sale nice and cheap. So I always wanted one of these, so I went and got it. This is the Gentleman Janitor Stoker. Is a little different than a lot of other ones. It has the pot auger goes through a pipe, and its drive is connected. It goes right through the bottom of the pot and out to this gearbox. So this pipe here that the motor's mounted on, goes straight through. It's hard to see it that way. You can see it here, and the auger has, we can't see it down there, but this side has a reverse flighting that pushes the coal that way to keep it, away from the gearbox, and the feed auger pushes the coal this way, and that action makes the coal come up. We make the 90-degree turn and come up through the pot. And these have these rings force the air to come out at an angle so it swirls, and they say that makes it work better. I guess it does. I don't know. We'll find out. And the boiler right now is up at a friend of mine who's been working on coal stoker boilers for about 40 years now. He's going to weld a plate over the domestic coil, because domestic coil, the rest of the boiler is in fantastic shape, but it must have been leaking around the domestic coil, and it just kind of ate away right at the flange. It didn't spread anywhere else. So, and I don't use a domestic coil. I have an indirect water heater in the basement that this pumps through that PEX line. So he's just going to weld a plate over it. That way it'll never leak again. This is the feed auger side. So this actually, there's an extension auger that connects here, and that goes directly into the bin. So the coal's in there. And this thing will self-feed from there. And we're probably going to take this thing outside today and give it a little test run. Well, we're going to test run it and, outside and feed coal to it and light it up later. But here it is running. Gentleman Janitor is one of the simplest underfed stokers. The motor turns this blower in here. This big disc here is the air adjustment, and you adjust the feed rate with these split pulleys, making them bigger or smaller. And as you can see right now, the auger is turning very slowly. You don't have to turn very fast. Anthracite coal burns very slowly. All right, later we'll fire it up. All right, so we're getting ready to fire up this Gentleman Janitor Stoker. We got it outside here. Got a couple of buckets of rice coal. These are supposed to run on buckwheat coal, but can't really get buckwheat coal down here, so we're going to see if it runs on rice. So everything's all bolted together. Just have temporary wiring connected to the motor so it turns on. Got a trash can here. The auger sticking through it. Dump the coal in there. And turn it on and it should feed right up the auger. Now, in some amount of time, coal will appear in the pot. Like I showed you earlier, the auger turns very, very slowly, so it will take a few minutes, maybe more. I'm going to go get a wrench and open up the gearbox, see if there's any oil. Shut it off to check this. Well, it's got some oil in there. Could probably use it some more, but we're only going to run it for a little while, so we'll worry about that later. All right, about 15 minutes later, and we'll see what we got. Yeah, look at that, there's coal coming up out of the pot. Try to keep the microphone away from the wind that's coming out of this thing. As you can see, it's pushing its way up the bottom of the pot. From our temporary bin here, you can see the bin being sucked down. That's the auger sucking that coal in and coal on top falling down. But yeah, that's almost far enough. We'll bust up some charcoal and stick it in there and get it ready to light. All right. Put some charcoal in a box and hit it with the hammer a bunch of times and throw it in there. And I will torch it up and turn it on. bit much air. Get it lit, you only want a little bit of air. Charcoal will burn faster. You hear that coal crackling like that, you know it's lighting. Now turn the air up. See, the way this stoker works is it's actually making a whirlwind of smoke out of there. Pretty crazy looking. Eventually, once this coal lights, you'll start seeing blue flames coming up out of there. Starting to light. See that orange down in there? That's lit anthracite coal. It's getting hot too. Now you can see, well, I don't know if you can see it, but there's flames coming up out of it now. Might not show up on the camera real well. Get you a little closer. Yeah, well, that was no problem lighting it with rice coal. I mean, this was like probably less than 25 minutes. I guess if it was dark out, we'd be able to see this a little better, but you can see the flame spinning around. Well, that's most of the lighting experience. It will come up and the ash will cover the ash ring eventually. This one has this strange looking ash ring. It's almost a non-existent ash ring. It's actually 13 inches from this point to this point, but where the bump outs are for the bolts, it's actually 14 inches. And I think they did that just because this thing is, this boiler is really small. So imagine, you know, boiler walls are going to be probably only a couple inches away from the edge of this pot. So probably going to, you know, if you had a 14-inch continuous ring, it might actually cause some clinkers to stick in there. So not sure if we'll use that or go with the 14-inch ring, but we'll see what happens. And getting a squeak out of this motor, as you can see, is bobbing in and out. It has a lot of end play in it, so that might not be useful, but it's a shame. It's a good motor. A little warm now. Not sure if that's from the fire or from the motor running. But, I mean, we've got motors around, so that's not a big deal. A shot of the data plate. GJ-5C. That's what's stamped in the front of the boiler, too. Alright, well, that's it. Lit up. It's been running for, I don't know, hour and a half or so. I put the motor from the new old stock Stoker that I have on there, and this runs nice and smooth. The other one, because of the play back and forth, it was that vibration in here is just it's the clean out thing. That's how you clean the fly ash out of the fly ash trap. But yeah, this motor runs nice and cool, nice and smooth. The other one, it was actually vibrating. You can see the ash diverters in there, and the ash is just ending up down in the ash pan like it's supposed to. So yeah, I would say we could probably run this thing on rice coal.